The Great Leap Forward was a big revolutionary achievement of China in terms of politics and economic construction. Without the Great Leap without the Great Leap Forward, socialist China would not have lasted. No, you see, in the first 2 to 3 years of China after the 1949 liberation, a great deal was done in controlling inflation, stabilizing the economy. Then in the succeeding years up to 1958, the basic transformation, socialist transformation of the Chinese economy had to be made. But it was just making do with what there was. No, basic transformation of the economy meant making more efficient the public control of the means of production, no? And then there were concessions to the national bourgeoisie and the petty bourgeoisie. Now, according to Lenin, if you prolong, and Stalin, if you prolong too much something like the new economic policy, then the bourgeoisie would grow beyond control of the working class. Then the new economic policy was something like what transpired after 1958. In the basic socialist transformation of China, aside from making efficient the public ownership of the means of production, land reform had to be carried out thoroughly, and cooperativization had to be undertaken. Now came the Great Leap Forward. This would pave the way for the communes to bring to the highest stage the cooperativization of agriculture and making significant advances in the mechanization of agriculture, and then also moving fast on industrialization. So, and then the Great Leap Forward was done at a time that there were three big problems with China. You have the problem of the U.S. blockade, and then you have the Soviet revisionist abandonment of more than 300 big projects. They tore up the blueprints and abandoned China because of the ideological dispute proceeding, and then you have the natural disasters. Without the Great Leap Forward, China would have been in bigger trouble, no? And Great Leap Forward was precisely to overcome these three big problems. And by 1952, China was already enjoying bumper crops as a result of the Great Leap Forward. The level of living conditions improved greatly. So, but you know, there is a misrepresentation. This anti-socialist Chinese, no, and the imperialists, you know, try to misrepresent all the time the Great Leap Forward. They even invent figures, you know. For instance, Newsweek invented the figure of 10 million people dying as a result of Great Leap Forward. Now they have raised it up to 30 million. It's very obvious. And then people who have gone over the statistics say that these are invented figures, these exaggerated figures of deaths, no? You know, in any revolutionary process, you don't have all perfection, no? At every turn, there can be mistakes. For instance, Liu Shaoqi opposed Great Leap Forward, no? And they tried to sabotage. Then when they could not sabotage it by saying, oh, we cannot do communes because we don't have the machines. Well, Mao said, you don't have to mechanize every farm. To the extent that we can, we mechanize, but use social organization, no? To make agriculture more efficient through the communes. Then when the Great Leap Forward could not be stopped, they exaggerated. They generated what would eventually be called the ill wind of the ill communist wind, no? You know, things that can be done at the proper pace to the proper extent, they overdid it, no? In order to show that the Great Leap Forward was a failure. But on the whole, my final answer is this: Chinese industry developed despite the Soviet abandonment because of the Great Leap Forward, and then there was the bumper crop of 1952, of 1962.